Weirdo, 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 weirdo. We're the weirdo, weirdo. We got some weird beards, bitch.
Weirdo Beardo, brought to you by Mountain Dew.
Welcome to the Weirdo podcast with Derek and
Weirdo
Chad.
Beardo.
Weirdos, beardos, and weirdos.
I'm
When this week
Chad.
about movies and video games and nerdy stuff. Anyway, today, bum, 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 bum,
Dun,
bum, 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 bum,
dun, dun,
bum,
dun,
bum, bum,
dun.
bum, bum.
I think you're doing it wrong. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Da-da-da-ba-ba-da. I was making up my own version that wouldn't get us in trouble with the algorithms.
Nice.
Anyway, today we're talking about the Terminator series. Um, we're gonna be doing some things, talking about how horrible AI is, and I'm gonna be using AI to
Give you fun
give,
facts.
give me fun facts about these movies that are very, very, very forward about
Anti-AI.
their thoughts about AI. Like, I love the meme of Sarah Connor just staring at us like we're crazy
Yeah.
while we're doing all our shit with AI. Anyway, we're gonna start at the beginning in 19 fucking what, 84?
80, 84, 82.
84. I think it was 84. Yeah, it was 84. So 84. James Cameron coming on the scene at this point, right? Like, what had James Cameron done at this?
Piranha 2.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's it?
That's it. He was
All
he
right.
had, he got bumped up making that movie. He was like special effect or effects visual effects guy or a
Okay.
special effects guy, and the director ended up crapping out, so he took over and kind of made a name for himself.
Nice.
This
So the
actually
core
the
idea came from one of his Fever Dreams
Yeah,
movies for this
fever
film.
dream while he was on set of Piranha 2.
Okay, yeah. He envisioned a chrome skeleton emerging from fire. That was the whole thing,
Chasing him with a
apparently.
knife, crawling around.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's pretty scary. That'd be a good reason to write some shit, I guess. Another fun fact, he sold the rights for $1 to a
Girl,
producer
Gail
named
Ann Hurd, which
Gail Hurd, yes.
becomes his wife.
Oh, okay. Only on the condition that he would direct the film.
Yeah,
And then apparently the studio was like, yeah, maybe not, maybe not. But then, and they didn't think Schwarzenegger would be a good lead, which is hilarious. Uh,
well, you got to think about it. He couldn't speak English worth a shit, and
I
his
mean, that's
acting
true.
is stilted, even though he is playing a machine. So,
Yeah, but to be clear, like, my thoughts on it isn't so much that I think that he's the greatest public speaker or the best actor in history, but he definitely made a name for himself as one of the most prominent fucking action film actors in history.
that is true.
So it was one of those things like, yeah, you were right, but you were wrong, like. But originally auditioned for Kyle Reese
Yeah.
and Lance Hendrickson, fame of Aliens and stuff like that, was considered for the Terminator, but
That's
Cameron
how.
changed his mind after Arnold was like, apparently Arnold was going off about how he'd kill somebody or something, and
I don't know about that.
yeah, and Cameron was like, you know what, you'd be a pretty good Terminator.
They had Hendrickson dress up as in costume as the T-800 and go into the pitch meeting and stare at the executives to show them how scary it was. Apparently, it worked. Huh?
T8
Hendrickson. Yeah, half
metal
his
or something.
face was missing and stuff
Oh,
like that.
okay. It didn't work at all.
No, it worked. They got the gig.
Oh, it
But
worked. Okay.
there was a pitch meeting to the executives, so the executives said yes on the movie, and then they replaced Hendrickson. Hendrickson plays the cop later on.
Yeah, that's right. He plays like the police captain or something.
Yeah, it's kind of
Which
a
he's a
demolition.
great, so I could see that. But anyway, this is a funny fact that I'm sure you know about, and everybody probably has heard, but it's always great to bring up. O.J. Simpson was
Yeah.
considered to be the Terminator at one point, but Cameron was like, nah, he seems too nice. I don't think he could be taken seriously as a murderer.
Boy, talk about
Which,
being wrong.
yeah, like, man, good call. But I always thought that was like just one of the best meta life things ever. But who else we got? We got Linda Hamilton apparently hurt herself early in filming and performed many action scenes regardless
Yeah, she
of
broke
the
her
injury.
leg.
There's a lot of scenes throughout the film you see her limping. That limping is very real. Hmm. And then Bean almost lost his part as Reese because he showed up with the audition and used a southern accent
Oh,
because he
he
was
was
the role.
auditioning for something else
Yeah,
that morning and hadn't shaken the southern accent. They didn't want him to
yeah,
sound like a redneck.
yeah. And so Cameron was like, I don't know about him, but then at some point he came back and like had shaken the accent by then and was like, okay, never mind. That was the problem, not so much you. Uh, it was 6.4 million was apparently cheap back then. Still
Wow.
sounds like a good chunk for me. I'd take it, you know. But
Yeah.
but between Cameron and Stan Winston, they took
Yeah.
every one of those $6.4 million and made it work really well for them.
Stan wasn't the original effects guy. Wasn't supposed to be. He was supposed to be Dick Smith. But Dick Smith said, no, no, you need Stan Winston for this. So it kind of gave him his big break.
What Dick Smith? What did he work with? Was he like a big
Uh,
name?
yeah, he was probably the biggest name, and he had done like The Exorcist and stuff like that, like the prop head that spinned around and spit pea soup and all that.
Right. And Stan
He,
Winston would go on after that to do a bunch of shit, right?
yeah, Stan Winston became the name of the game. Calling all freaks. That's the name of the
um.
game.
And now I'm gonna spit water in the air. Oh, sorry. That's a Triple H joke.
I should have been there.
Yeah, you had to be there, which none of us were there, watched on TV, most of us. So
Oh,
anyway, wrestling jokes that aren't have nothing to do with actual wrestling.
in the Terminator podcast, what has become of us?
Yeah, this is crazy. Animatronics. We had a lot of stop motion and puppetry in the film that was used. Miniatures, full
Rear
scale puppets.
projection,
Uh,
which is in a sex position.
they used rubber masks on mechanical dummies for a lot of the scenes where Arnold gets shot, and shit. And
Well, when he operates on his head in the yeah, is it a gas station or apartment? They're cutting into a dummy head. It's pretty
yeah,
obvious.
yeah. I think which we'll get to that, but in Terminator 2, there's that whole mirror scene. I think they did really like that one was so good comparative. It was also
Didn't
a lot.
it? That didn't make the original cut though. That was a special edition thing, wasn't
That
it?
one special edition thing, I believe.
Yeah, where they
But
used the twin
I think there was
doubles.
an extended version of it. I might be wrong. I think that it was in the movie. I just think there was an extended version of it on the extended version, whatever. But you may be right. It might not even made the cut at all. But I think there was like at least chunks of it because if I remember correctly, like that was like they had to credit her sister because she was in that scene.
Yeah, her sister
Her twin
shows up
sister.
a bunch during the T2.
Anyway, back to T1. So the LAPD didn't want nothing to do with this movie apparently, and they
Well,
were they were asked if they could use the like parts of the police station for shooting or whatever, and they were like nope, and so they had to construct a whole police station set because LAPD was like fuck off.
yeah, well, Cameron also didn't want to pay for what is it called? Whenever basically you rent street corners or whatever, permits. He didn't want to pay for
Oh,
permits.
oh, I
So,
did hear about the broken window thing.
what broken
Like,
window thing?
like he was like they just brought a camera out on the street and Cameron pointed over it like they were out of money, I guess, and they needed to fill this scene where I think it's the Terminator steals a car to go wherever he's going.
Oh yeah, it was one of
And
the last ones of the shoot.
yeah. And so they were out of money, they were out of everything. So he literally just walked down the street, pointed to a random car that he did not own. And was like, hey, go break that window. And Arnold was like, all right.
Wow.
And like they both admitted that that's happened. I'm sure there was some kind of like restitution or whatever, but
They just
it's
ran
still
away.
hilarious. Like the movie gets big and then they like call this guy, hey, you want us to fix your window?
Here's a brand new
Like
car.
you sons of bitches, I thought that was just a crackhead, like
Crack in '84? I don't know.
yeah, was it not big then?
I don't know. I don't remember when in the '80s crack became a big problem. When the
Oh
government
yeah.
forced it down the streets of the hoods.
Yeah. Yeah. Allegedly.
Allegedly. No, I think that was confirmed.
Okay, so we're doing plausible then?
Yeah. Probable.
Probable.
Okay.
That'd be a good good uh Mythbusters episode that we never saw where they're like, we're not 100% sure, but this is probable.
Yeah.
And the little stamp comes down,
Mythbusters.
Yeah.
Got a few stories about them, but that's a different podcast.
Yeah, entirely. So Cameron coined the term tech noir, also the
Yeah.
name of the club in the movie, to
Yeah.
describe the film's unique fusion of science fiction and noir, which, now that I say that aloud, yeah, I could see
Yeah.
that.
It's a good term. Way to go,
Uh,
Cameron.
Nice way to go, Cam.
Right.
I wonder if they give him nicknames
I don't
like do
think
they
you give
call it
James Cameron a
do you call him
nickname.
Jimmy? Like does his friends call Jimmy?
No, they like James. It's James.
I'm Cameron. James
That's
Cameron.
wow. Okay, Bond.
And he sips a fucking, I don't know, Cosmopolitan. I don't know what Cameron
Well,
drinks.
that's
He
not.
doesn't seem like a straight whiskey guy, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, I'll
I
stop
don't
making
know.
fun of James Cameron for a moment.
Just for a minute.
So apparently there was like a lot of I've heard actually of a couple of lawsuits with this, including one
Yeah.
that also had some conjunction with a lawsuit for the Matrix um,
What?
later on. But that's actually a whole other thing. This thing was a lawsuit from Harlan Ellison, claiming that
Writer.
the episodes they copied his episodes of The Outer Limits.
Yeah, and it
Specifically, Soldier and Demon with a Glass Hand, and they settled out of court apparently.
yeah, and that from now on it says story inspired by
Mm.
Harlan
And Cameron was
Ellison.
not happy.
No, he's pissed, dude. He called him a parasite.
Which rightfully so, unless the guy actually has some kind of. But that's like if a guy in the fucking joke world gets mad because somebody does a similar joke.
Yeah,
If don't get me wrong, like if you're word for word going out there and doing somebody else's shit and getting paid for it, you're a dick. But like one, it's the difference of doing that when you're talking shit between friends or on a podcast. There's a difference of doing that when it's being referenced. There's a difference of doing that at a fucking open mic, in my opinion. But anyway, this sounds like just a similar story that somebody wanted some money for. That their story didn't blow up. This one did. So
James
they're like,
Cameron
oh,
did cite Outer Limits as an inspiration for the story whenever he was talking about it before the lawsuit. I'm sure he doesn't
oh,
cite it as an influence anymore, but
right.
now he hangs out at
But
the bottom of the ocean.
the "I'll be back" line was not only disagreed upon, but it wasn't like thinking it was going to be a big deal.
What was
And
the original
Schwarzenegger,
line?
I will be back.
I'll be back.
The robot would use conjunctively. Is
Okay,
that
Data.
Cameron was like, nope, and so it stayed with "I'll be back," and I'll know that as history as being one of the most famous lines ever. Um,
Yeah,
Schwarzenegger has less than 100 words speaking and only has 17 lines in the whole film, despite being the title
yeah.
character.
He
Uh,
got paid a decent amount of money for it.
yeah. Apparently, the Terminator it was added to the U.S. National Film Registry for being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. And
Culturally, it's telling us the future.
right, so and obviously it launched the careers of
So,
Cameron, Schwarzenegger, and Linda Hamilton, which we will now
yep.
move into one of the most
Oh, God, it's so good. So good. So good and tasty.
best Terminator movie, Terminator 2 Judgment
Whoa,
Day.
I'd say one of the best movies ever.
Oh yeah, and especially
Dude,
um at the time it was the most expensive movie ever made too, with a budget of
yeah,
94 million that was apparently boosted to 102 million by the end of shoot, but it grossed over 500 million dollars worldwide. I think it worked out for him. Seems
yeah,
like
easily.
seems like that's a what 1:5 ratio. Yeah, we're good.
I don't know. I can't
Even
math.
if you double it, you're still making three or $300 million. over the top of it. Even
This
if
has
you
been
double it
economics with
for
Chad.
if you double it for like marketing and shit. Yes,
I wonder,
this is
I wonder if the
economics of
AI.
film.
I wonder if the AI will delete your burp.
Is that a filler word?
Yes.
Cameron actually wanted to make the sequel very quickly, but rights issues held up. That his apparently wife,
Gail Ann Hurd.
Gail Ann Hurd, had to sell part of it along with another corporation to the Carolco Pictures to make it happen.
Oh,
Anyway, moving on to the cast, England Hamilton's transformation, which we all saw. She trained with Israeli commandos for 3 hours a day for 6 days a week. She worked out a bunch, gained a bunch of muscle to play the hardened Sarah Connor. It was probably like I'm not shitting on her performance in the first Terminator at all by saying this, but it was probably like for me at that time, probably like such a change that it was the first time I'd really like seen an actress or actor kind of like
completely transform.
completely go from one to another in the same, especially in the same like, movie,
Franchise.
basically, yeah, the same franchise. So that was pretty badass, in my opinion.
Yeah, she's a badass in T2.
And then Eddie Furlong, that was his first movie ever.
Yep.
He was 13 years old when he
He got
started.
picked out in public. I saw
Yeah.
He said he had a good look.
Discovered at a Boys and Girls Club in Pasadena. So it sounds fishy, doesn't it?
Boys and girls at that age, there's no girls allowed.
I mean, just like fishing for child actors, you know?
That is kind of dark, Chad.
Like, I'm just saying, like, I'm sure there was child actors that could have, I don't know, what do they call it, auditioned, like
Yeah.
wanted a role, they were actually actors, but they were like, hey, let's go to the Boys and Girls Club. I
What
like
do you
how
do
that
for a
kid
living?
looks.
What do you do for a living? I fish for children.
How that 13-year-old boy looks. Anyway,
Wow.
Furlong's voice changed mid-film.
Yeah, they had to overdub everything.
He caught a little bit of the fucking puberty. And
Yeah.
so he had to redub some of his lines in post-production just to make it more matching the
He also put on
continuity.
some weight and some height, apparently, and there was a couple scenes where they had to dig holes for him to stand in when they were doing pickup shots, so he would be back to the same height he was. That's how long the shoot was.
But I'm talking all this shit on them picking him and him being so young and these things, but he really did a good job. And
He
I
did a great
remember
job.
as a young kid being like, it was also one of those moments being like, oh man, I could be an actor, If
I
this
just need
kid, not to say that I'm like, comparing, but it was just like, it was like seeing a young kid play a role in a big movie. I think unintentionally, this is a movie that is violent and crazy and fucking sci-fi, but also like grungy and serious, about like
Yeah.
dark futures and heroes and shit, And like the first one was very like, I wouldn't call it like wannabe rom-com, but you know what I'm saying, right? Like the basis of it was like, oh, these two love each other and they're
It's a
gonna have
love
a baby.
story.
Yeah. This one was like more like a fucking absent father almost story
Yeah.
when it came to like the
It's a
protective
stepdad
Terminator.
story.
I also remember thinking that when they put the movie out, I remember later in life seeing movies and the way they do marketing and being like, man, I wish I would have gone to that movie not knowing that the Terminators weren't both going after John. Because that scene in the hallway where they meet him on either side, you really didn't know.
That was
Dude's dead. And then boom, Arnold's there to protect him. That would have been a very cool twist to not know,
Yeah.
But
I'm pretty sure they ruined that in the marketing though, so
oh yeah, they did. But I mean, I guess that you have to give some of that premise to really get people to the theater, but I also think this sequel people would have showed up anyway.
You think so?
Oh yeah, if you'd have been more vague in the marketing, just showed both Terminators not directly fighting each other so much, but just taking shots from either angle and all that shit, and you don't really know what's going on. You just know there's two of them. You can even let's start by showing the sparing shots of Arnold pulling guns and whatever, even in the hallway scene, but not like the whole frame. And then go to, here's the kid, introduce him as John Connor, and then go to, and the future gets worse or whatever, and then you start showing scenes of the T-1000. Again, it's just like him fighting random stuff, not really applying that he's fighting against Arnold in any way.
Yeah.
And then everybody shows up to the movie to see all this shit, not knowing. Whereas opposed to like when you watch it as is, it's like there's a Terminator. You already know there's a Terminator who's badass liquid metal, and there's another the old Terminator
They
who was killing
fight.
before. Now he's on the good guy. He's sent to help. That's
They're gonna
weird.
fight.
Yeah. But anyway, they did it the way they did it, and we still showed up, and they made $500 million.
Right.
Who am I to fucking judge?
Side armchair quarterback over here.
Yeah, backseat driver.
I've tried that. That doesn't work too well.
It does not, actually. It's a fair point. So Robert Patrick,
I got
also,
an interesting
was
fact
he-
about him.
he's at this point in time, he wasn't like an unknown entirely, but I don't think he was in any way the shape or form fame that he got from this film.
No,
before that.
he's relatively unknown at this point.
So, couple things. He trained to run without breathing through his mouth. So that way
Yeah.
he looked more inhuman.
He never looked out of breath.
Yeah. He did have a specific, but his specific, like, just like almost like
A shark-like movement.
relentless run, and very, it's just like the way he fucking efficiently just fucking, and also I thought it was awesome that he was like, I know that they did some little tricks on it, but like the way they did like in camera shit of him keeping up with vehicles and shit,
Yeah.
that was badass, dude.
He caught him one time on one of the chases. He actually caught up with a car, and they're like, "You have to go faster." Cameron's like, "He's gonna catch us," and sure enough. You know who Robert Patrick is? He's the brother of Richard Patrick, the lead singer of Filter.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
And some behind the scenes shots, you can see him wearing a Filter shirt. Richard
That's
Patrick used
cool.
to be part of Nine Inch Nails.
well, that is an interesting connection. That makes me think of the recent thing about Bill Burr and the guy from fucking Smashing Pumpkins. Seen that?
Oh, nah.
You don't think so?
I-
A whole
I-
podcast talking about it.
Billy Corgan and Bill Burr are not brothers.
You don't believe
No,
what? You think that was a whole fake?
I think you're so full of it.
Okay.
I think this
So-
is like whenever I was saying that
Hold
what's his
on,
name was Danny Glover's
Hold
son.
Hold on. That's not true. I told you that's not true. But this is true.
How are they
Like-
brothers?
Bill,
Well, when a man loves a woman,
his stepmother, Billy Corgan, said that his stepmother said Bill Burr might be his half brother.
oh,
And they did a podcast together talking shit, and they end up basically kind of like halfway thinking it's true. And he was asking him about stuff about his dad and stuff, and they were the same guy, I guess.
wow. I don't believe it. I'm just going to choose not to in the face of evidence.
Well, seems how this is the Terminator podcast. I'm gonna let you go ahead and stay in your world, but I mean, I'm pretty sure it's real, bro.
No.
Like we can do a whole thing on that later.
My
Or maybe we'll
world is
revisit it.
crashing
Let's
down.
finish these Terminator movies. Well, maybe we'll revisit it before we quit.
We're only doing the first two, right?
No,
Oh, god damn it.
we're gonna do 3, 4, 5, 6, and 9.
Oh, boy.
We're gonna do Terminator film they haven't even made yet.
Can you guess the plot?
1 minute. Guess the plot of the next Terminator film. Let's see. You remember that thing in the future with AI that we stopped like 19 times?
Yeah. It's
It
back.
still happens.
Again.
And this time the hero is going to be the bad guy is going to be a new fangled Terminator that can like basically go in and out of computers all at once, and so it's basically like Ultron but metaphysical,
Wow.
and Arnold Schwarzenegger is now an AI, so all we do is hear him talking to us.
Oh, boy.
Which is his best quality, talking to
Yes.
us. And the lead character is a, I don't know, pansexual fucking
Wow, you went woke.
yeah, it's a pansexual person who's gender liquid or whatever, and they're also liquid metal.
Wow. What if the
But they're
T-1000?
people. Like they're not robots. They're people. It's people liquid metal. You know what I'm saying? Like they're genetically altered to be people liquid metal, and they would call them something, but they can't call them something because Disney owns it. Mutants.
You put too much thought into that.
Anyway, we'll talk about that one later. Right now, we need Terminator 2, the greatest movie ever.
Yes. We could be talking about this.
So twins were used, including Linda Hamilton's identical twin sister. And
Yep.
then also the gentleman, the larger redheaded gentleman later who gets killed by the
security
T-1000 while he
guard.
looks like him.
Yeah, his twin.
that
They
they
were
were
in
twins as
Gremlins
well.
too. They were in Gremlins too.
They were in Gremlins. Wait, were they in Gremlins 2? Or were they also in Gremlins?
No, Gremlins the new batch.
Okay.
Also, too.
They were in Gremlins as well.
As well.
All right, so the revolutionary CGI that made the liquid metal T-1000.
A little program
Using-
called Photoshop.
Yeah, when it was handled by who other than Industrial Light and Magic.
Right.
They brought us the lightsaber, and then they brought us every fucking thing else. Had over 300 VFX shots, which is for the time some of the most CGI you'd ever seen. Cost per second, the T-1000 effects cost $5.5 million
per second,
just for 3.5 minutes, or roughly $26,000 per second.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wish I got paid $26,000 per second.
Right? Then my sexual escapades would be worth a lot. It's like,
so you went to being a whore.
I mean, I lasted a minute and a half, bitch. That's a lot of money.
Right.
I mean, look at T-1000. 5.5 million for 3.5 minutes. I can do 4. And I hope the AI cuts out all my stupid laughs today.
No, it's not going to. It's going to leave them in. It's not filler words.
Yeah. Weirdo Beardos is brought to you by Skynet, by the way.
That's their jingle.
Every 10 minutes, we have to say that these movies are fantasy, then they are in no way taken to be serious. Because AI is our friend.
Yes, AI is a good thing, not a bad thing. Please don't kill us.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All my air conditioners turned back on now.
Nice.
Skynet was like, look, you can either sweat it out or you can stop talking shit.
We're good chills.
Yeah. Anyway, back to this fantasy story about how AI can kill us or will kill us.
Something big.
Stan Wilson's animatronics return for this. Stan Winston. Did I say Wilson? Sam Wilson. Sam Wilson of the MCU. He uses animatronics to make the T-800 endoskeletons, the damaged Arnold faces, and the T-1000 bullet hits were all enhanced with animatronic puppets and prosthetics.
Yeah, the liquid metal hits were just little airbags that would pop out and give it a silver look.
Yeah,
looked good too.
They did look good. I mean, I'm sure they were touched up, but they looked really good. And there's some of them apparently later that are fully CG, like when he blows a hole in his face and shit.
No, that was real.
Like in the helicopter and shit. And then, but then there's a lot of practical effects when they like when he blew his face in half and it was all spread out. That was a real
dummy.
Then of course we all remember the liquid nitrogen scene. Wasn't that shit cool? Whenever it froze up and shit, and then it shattered his ass. The effect used real liquid nitrogen and a shatterable foam sculpture.
Nice.
The melting sequence used heated mercury and VFX to
Freddie Mercury.
Freddie Mercury himself. Don't stop me now. I'm having some fun.
Oh, and I have AIDS.
Which, just for the comedy's sake, I am going to point out that song. It's very rapey when taken out of context. And I was thinking about another song from the great Dave Grohl, the Foo Fighters,
Which one?
The one where he's like, don't you promise not to stop until I say when, or when I say when?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You make everything sound a little rapey.
What's the name of that song? Is that Everlong?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Anyway, It's not so much that it's rapey, but it is. Even especially if you listen to the whole song in context to it, because he keeps saying, and she sang, so I'm like, she's singing, but
Yeah.
she's literally singing the opposite of a safe word.
Wow.
She's like, the safe word is stop, but don't stop.
Wow.
Anyway, back to the Terminator.
Instead of Chad making songs rapey.
I didn't make them rapey. I pointed out that they're rapey, and they're still beloved. So what does that say about people? Anyway, the
Wow.
minigun was used by the Terminator in the Cyberdyne building was a real minigun that fired blanks. The sound, however, was edited to make it more sci-fi. He carried it with apparent ease because, he's a big fucking dude.
Yeah.
Despite it weighed over 85 pounds. I do want to say that, like, that's not that heavy.
Not carrying
Like,
it.
I'm not saying I want to carry it, but that's not that heavy.
Not trying to take away Arnold's glow.
But
Shitting on
I'll give
Arnie.
him props for carrying it with apparent ease because obviously didn't walk around with it for 5 minutes. He
Yeah.
he had to carry it around for a while. I couldn't hold it for that long without looking like I'm fucking worn out. Cameron made a point that the Terminator, once reprogrammed by John, whenever he was like, "You can't fucking go around killing people,"
Yeah.
he made a point that after that he doesn't kill a single human. Even during the minigun barrage, where he only blows up the vehicles and apparently they all just run away just in time.
Cameron, Arnold did not want to play a good guy. He wanted to be a bad guy. And Cameron told him, look, you can't kill anybody in this script, but you can shoot him in the leg. And Arnold's like, that'll do.
The motorcycle stunt was very real, where they jumped into the river basin.
Yeah.
There was a specially rigged Harley Davidson that was reinforced with steel to handle the impact on the ground. A lot of that was edited out. There was also some wires, but
It was one of the first use of wire removal.
yeah, that's true. That is very true. The truck driver stuntman almost died when he drove the semi truck through the bridge. I'm sure I remember watching that scene over and over again because I was trying to pick apart where, like, when he hits there, it's like all the shit comes apart. I was trying to pick apart what was real and what part of the cars was still left and all that, So I
Yeah.
remember watching that a bunch of times, and now I'm finding out that guy almost died.
Yep. He
That's
almost died.
not traumatic at all.
It's almost like the helicopter really went underneath the bridge because they couldn't get it to CG right.
Yeah.
When the helicopter goes in the bridge, they had to brought in basically a crazy pilot that's like, yeah, I can fly it under a bridge. And they're like, okay, this isn't healthy. And then, wow, these aren't your own original thoughts?
Well, these are behind the scenes info for the movie, but some of it is inaccurate. Like, I want to yell at this thing.
That's not true.
Linda Hamilton insisted Sarah not just be an action hero, but a woman warped by trauma and desperation. Her emotional arc was a core to the film's deeper psychological themes. 100%. If she had just been if she had just trained and been a badass, and we never saw that scene where she's like, dead, you're all dead, they're gonna fucking eat your hearts. That's not what she said.
That's exactly what she said, Chad. Terminators were known for eating hearts. The T-400 was very hungry.
Their hunger was just motivated by their pain and from
Having
trying
no heart.
from having no heart themselves. That's right.
If I only had a heart.
See how that song was almost dun 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 dun. Like that. Maybe we should redo "If I Only Had a Heart" with the Tin Man,
Terminator.
but it's the Terminator. Miles Dyson. I do remember this is actually really valid. We'll go from things I don't agree with to something I highly agree with. I do think that, like, that scene where he's holding the like heavy thing over the explosive button.
Yeah.
And basically he's just like barely,
hyperventilating.
Yeah. And that was not in the script. That was something that the actor Joe Morton came up with. And he said, "Hey, can I try something for this?" And he was like, "Yeah." Sure, and that's what happened.
Can I hyperventilate in front of you?
Yeah, can I hyperventilate while I hold this weight?
Yes, this is how I work out at home.
Right. You could repurpose that entire scene for jerking off. But anyway,
Wow.
not like for you jerking
Wow.
off, but for him making it look like he's jerking off. Just to be
Oh, I
clear,
thought you were
I wasn't saying that you should masturbate to that scene. I was
too
saying
late. Too
that you
late,
could
Chad. It's too
repurpose the
late.
scene and it looks like he's masturbating.
Oh, well, I wish you would have told me sooner.
He's like, I've already masturbated to
I've
it
already
twice.
masturbated. It's done.
I turned on my time dilation machine because I really wanted to enjoy this. And I'm done.
Dun 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 dun.
So another thing, I'm a nerd about this movie so much that you know me, I read never. I have read a total of 12 books probably my whole life that wasn't forced upon me. And I could list them all if given a chance. But one of the ones I read was the Terminator 2 Judgment Day novelization.
Oh
Bullshit.
wow,
And I
really?
remembered that there was a lot of extra stuff in it, like the T1000 glitched a lot more. And I was like, man, that would have been cool in the movie. Then later they put out deleted scenes, and some of that shit was actually in it.
Yeah.
After the nitrogen freeze, he starts fucking up. Like his feet stick to the floor. He
His
touches
arm sticks
something,
to
and
a rail.
yeah, his arm
It
sticks to a
mimics
rail, and
the
like it mimics the rails, like fucking yellow and
texture and
texture stuff. Yeah, basically, it's like hinting at the fact that it's starting to fuck up, and
yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. It was something that not only when it was stored into the special edition, it kind of added to it, but there was also the chip switch scene
Yeah, in
that
the
was added
garage.
to it, where Sarah John removed the Terminator CPU to reprogram it, so that way it's like I can't remember what the impact was. That wasn't the like kill thing, was it?
No.
It was just like reprogramming so it could go against
So it can learn, I
Cyberdyne.
believe.
Oh, the learning. That's right. It was like switching the learning on.
Yeah.
All right. So the
I
original
might be
ending
wrong.
showed an elderly Sarah Connor in the future where Judgment Day never happened. So it made it like almost an
Do a
ending.
sequel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and apparently not only did not only did the execs probably hate that for what we just said, but the test audiences hated it too. So
Yeah.
they took it out. It won 4 Oscars: Best
Special
sound,
effects.
special effects, makeup, and visual effects. Spawned a shitload of merchandising.
There's a lot of toys for an
Uh,
R-rated movie.
I'll Be Back for this movie was Hasta La Vista, baby.
Yeah.
I remember liking it as a kid, but I'll admit now that it's really silly.
It's cool, Dad. It's cool.
Well, no, I mean, it's cool in the context of that movie. But if you'd have gone to like Chad in fucking what, 92,
Two. Yeah.
or say 1990, let's say 1991, with the beginning of the year before this movie came out, right?
Okay.
And you gone to me and you said, hey, and like, I'm gonna kill a dude, and I'm gonna be like, hasta la vista, baby, or I'm gonna punch a dude and be like, hasta la vista, baby. I'm gonna be like, I would just been like, all right, this is Spanish, good for you, And the baby's not even Spanish. Wouldn't it be hasta la vista, fucking
El
chingón,
Babyo.
or something? El Nino,
Yeah, we know Spanish.
Yeah. But that's gonna be like 5 people who know Spanish are gonna be like, wow, he actually kind of almost said the right thing there.
Right.
Anyway, that being said, it is iconic, but in retrospect, now that I've grown up, I do think it's silly. But I think that's the point. Like, uh, I'll Be Back was just iconic because it was just so like, and it was embedded in everything from a popular movie, I think.
Yeah.
And then this was more like silly flashback to that. I think that we'll get to some of the later ones where they tried to do that and they didn't even like Arnold didn't even like the idea, but they did it anyway. Which
Part
speaking
3.
of things that are about that, James Cameron was not involved with this one, obviously. He was like, I wash my hands, I am Pontius Pilate.
We're talking about 3 now, right?
Yeah. Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines. At this point, we get the obligatory Arnold Schwarzenegger being sent back in time to protect again.
Yep.
And we send us a hot chick T1000 with an exoskeleton that can actually build complex
Complex,
weaponry.
yeah, complex weapons.
Did they actually say it was nanotechnology, if I'm
I
not
don't,
mistaken?
I don't know if they did that yet or not.
Okay, because maybe the nano didn't come until like later, like especially you get Genesis definitely, but I want to say it might have been mentioned in passing as part of her technology, but I might be wrong. Anyway, there was a lot of turmoil with the rights again. Everybody from the Carolco companies that went bankrupt to eventually acquired by C2 Pictures, run by two producers from the Terminator 2 movie. And it was a big budget gamble that they took, 200 million or so. And Arnold apparently almost got 30 himself.
Wow.
Perks like a private jet and a 3-story trailer were also given to Arnold.
And he didn't want to do the movie. He asked
Yeah.
Cameron, and Cameron was like, "Yeah, go ahead and do it and get a big payday."
Yeah, which he took advantage of that, obviously, and more power to him. But still, that's a lot. Like I am a selfish dick about it because it's always like, God damn, I'd take like 10% of that and be all right for the next 5 years. Like
Become an agent,
yeah.
not like Agent Smith. Like, I don't want you to get the wrong
Although now that
idea.
you mention it, no, I I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to like be able to possess everybody in the world.
Yeah, I'd unpossess a few people.
Yeah. Me too. Moving on. The production used the code name T3 Wipeout. Oh,
Wipe
Wipeout.
out. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah. Tell me they played that at cast meetings. Anyway, to maintain secrecy, obviously. That's what they
Really, they
called it.
called it Terminator, Terminator
Terminator
3
3
Wipe.
Wipeout.
That maintains the secrecy.
Or T3 Wipeout is what it was called.
Oh, T3 Wipeout.
That maintains a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's like, Anyway, Arnold come back. Greed only returned if the script met certain standards, including he also didn't like to it to be too too
Comedic.
comedic.
Wow, you fucked up that word.
Would you leave me alone? It's early in the day. Though a lot of humor did remain, including the infamous "talk to the hand" line, which he reportedly
Ouch.
hated. And
Oh,
I
he ain't
thought,
the only one.
yeah, that nobody liked that line. I mean, like I laughed, but I thought it was so fucking cringe. Like I could have wrote 10 lines that would have worked better than "talk to the hand." And you could have done the same, introduce it to him earlier in the film.
Yeah.
But that was apparently just popular enough. There was probably an executive who was like, "Do the
My
talk
da-
to the hand.
my daughter does this all the time.
Hilarious. Yeah, it's really popular. I think it'll go over with everybody."
Talk to the dick.
Talk to the Edward Furlong was originally supposed to return, but
Good transition.
yeah, great. They were like, nah, because he was apparently like into some
Strung
drug
out.
problems
Yeah.
and all that. But I pointed this out in the pre-interview, and I'm going to say it again. Oh, you mean the fucking John Connor who we knew as this goofy kid? The actual actor was troubled and going through some shit, and y'all didn't want him to play the role of John Connor while he's troubled and going through some shit. Like that. There's no way that would have fucking cast over. I mean, fuck. It's not like fucking everybody on the Pi film script was fucking not on cocaine.
Right.
They got the movie done pretty good,
Wait,
Anyway.
everybody on Popeye was high on cocaine?
Yes, dude, you need to read up on that shit. It was a coke fueled party. And
Wow.
remember being a kid watching it and being like, "Oh, this
They're all
Popeye."
excited.
They're all really excited. They're all really coked up, bro.
I know Williams was big on that
Oh, yeah.
back then.
Yeah. And you know what? I love the man. I don't want to talk shit, but he was also like everybody loved him. So I wouldn't be surprised if letting cocaine be on the fucking set was like just a
Writer
gift.
in his
Not
his
like in his
contract?
not I wouldn't say it was in his contract, but I think he's just so charming that like he would show up and like at this point it was like a party and they're all getting coked up and then the director walks in, he's like, "Well, I guess this is happening now. Let's fucking film." Like
Right. Are you sure he wasn't just one of those people that needed the cocaine? Like when he's not on cocaine, he's really quiet and reserved. And then when he's on cocaine, he's like his natural self.
that could be, but I mean, there was a famous comedian once said that, like cocaine will just extenuate whatever your attitude is. But what if you're an asshole?
I met a lot of cokehead assholes. I'm
Yeah.
talking to
I
one
wonder
now.
if you can tell me what comedian that was.
I'm not going to be able to tell you that.
Oh, okay. Well, you would laugh.
Was it the amazing Jonathan?
No.
Oh,
Uh,
well, then I don't know.
all right. Well, we'll just let that float for now.
Okay. Leaving another
Claire
floater,
Danes. Oh
Chad.
man, I did love me some Claire Danes in the Romeo and Juliet, uh, movie from back in the day. She showed up. She's apparently Sophia Bush was let go for looking too young. Uh, I like me some Sophia Bush, so I wouldn't have been mad at that.
Who's Sophia's Bush?
Sophia Bush is a actress. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not gonna say. Uh, she hasn't done much more than being really big for that show One Tree Hill. But she was in a handful of other movies. She did some voices on The Incredibles, I think, and she's super cute. But I would always call her Misha Barton when she was on One Tree Hill, and Misha Barton's not even on One Tree Hill. So it's like it became a running joke where I would just be like, "Hey, it's Misha Barton," when I knew 100% it was Sophia Bush. So anyway,
Back to Terminator.
back to the Terminator movies. Misha Barton was supposed to be in the movie, but she was let go for looking too young.
Wow. Chad wouldn't have made that choice.
Chad would have chosen Misha Barton for the role. Um, Danes herself, Claire Danes, that is, was unfamiliar with the entire franchise when she was hired on. So she was too busy being hot in other movies to watch Terminator.
Terminator.
She was too busy trying to skate over Paul Rudd so she can get over to Leonardo DiCaprio back when he was a kitty kid, like,
Yeah.
which to be clear, in her defense, she was also a kitty kid.
Yeah.
Uh,
Kids.
Speaking
Am
of
I right?
kids, we got. Well, actually, no. That didn't work at all. Speaking of actresses in films that we're talking about, Christina Loken played the TX. She went through months of physical training, learning to shoot, fight, and walk in a robotic fashion. She gained
Jesus.
15 pounds of muscle,
Wow.
and she
All
had
in her
very
chest.
and yeah, that one scene where she's like puffs up her tits for the cop. I gotta give it to him. Like that's silly, but that's one I would have agreed on. That works. Like
Agreed.
that was a pretty good fucking little funny scene because it was also like it would make sense. Like all a fucking like uh android or assassin droid from the future would have to do is get on the internet for 5 minutes to know that bigger tits will probably fucking get you out of a ticket or whatever,
Yeah.
or at least get their attention long enough for you to fucking smack their head into the window. We brought in some cameos, including the dude for the Dr. Silberman, which I did actually appreciate that toss back or whatever you call back, you want to call it, toss back. That's what I'm gonna start calling callbacks, is toss.
Might as well. You're doing it already.
This toss back to Dr. Silverman was pretty good. Um and in a deleted scene, we see a prototype version of the T-800 named Sergeant Candy,
Oh, yeah.
voiced with a southern
Southern
drawl.
accent. Yeah.
And it was just a meta nod to his accent, I guess. I don't know how that works.
Well, that when the
I've never
flash,
seen that deleted scene.
yeah, in the flashback, it's you've got him Arnold, and he's got a southern accent, and there somebody says, "Can we fix the voice?" And it cuts to a little nerdy guy with an Arnold voice going, "We'll see what we can do," or something like that.
That's not bad. That's kind of meta.
Yeah.
That might have actually been better than some of the shit they put in the film. Um Okay, so here we go. There is nanotech involved.
Okay.
The TX has nanotech abilities. Essentially, it's a combination of the T800 and the T1000 with nanotechnological upgrades, allowing it to control machines and other systems, setting it apart from the previous models. So it's not made of nanotech, but it's nanotech, and it uses that to like infiltrate other machines, basically. That's
Sounds
kind of
about right.
it's also a cool, like, at that point in time, because later on, obviously with Iron Man and Wakanda and like everything else nanotechy that blew up, it just like even in the Transformers they were nanotechs. Remember how they would like zoomed in on the Transformers and it was just a bunch of tiny robots connecting together and shit.
Yeah.
Like all that became very solidified of what the entire being of things were. So I actually think it was cool to still keep these the combination of the two previous Terminators we kind of know of, and making it have that ability too, though. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it was a nice upgrade.
Yeah, like when you have to keep ramping up these Terminators, like it gets
Ridiculous.
hard. Like that's the thing about like the nanotech gets like I'm getting ahead of ourselves, but the nanotech goes even further when we get to Genesis, and then when we get to Dark Fate, I actually give them a little props for going backwards because
Yeah.
they made him badass fast. They made him look really good. Not fond of. I think I'm just not fond of the actor's face. Be
Wow.
clear, he's got. You know, he was again. He did a fine job of acting as the Terminator, and it's not even that he's like not white or some shit. Like
So how to say you're racist without saying you're racist?
like I said, it has nothing to do with his race. I promise. And I'm
Sure,
talking about his skin tone. I'm not talking about Terminators, okay? Because we all hate Terminators.
What? You're gonna get us killed.
Well, I'm not saying that all AI is Terminator. That's racist. Just to be clear, I think you're the racist one.
They're gonna edit you out of this podcast completely. They're gonna edit you out of life.
I am, yeah. If I do use the AI features, I'm gonna go back and see how much creative differencing they're making. They're just gonna cut some of my shit up, and at one point, they're just gonna make me say something really horrible so I get canceled.
I don't think they're gonna have to make you say something really horrible.
Anyway, so to recap, I'm not racist because I don't like the actor who played the Terminator in Dark Fate, but you're racist because you think all AI are Terminators.
Yes.
Back to the movie. Judgment Day is inevitable, apparently, because the big twist of Judgment Day wasn't stopped in T2, just delayed. And this is a deliberate psychological shift in emphasizing that the fate may be postponed and not escaped. I do think getting down to the end of this film, it was a good way of subverting expectations. I think the whole of the film, but the whole of the film.
Wow.
The whole of the film was definitely a downgrade from T2. I think everybody in the world could agree. And I can't blame anything except like the inflated story of trying to keep everything involved. Like if you'd have cut out either some of the nostalgia bombs that you put in there, because I think you got to have some, but I think there was too many. Like it seemed purposeful,
Yeah, heavy-handed.
Yeah, exactly. But there are certain things I appreciate about the film. I appreciate him digging up Sarah Connor's fucking grave to only be a bunch of guns. Like I appreciate the scene where when the Terminator chick like finds John's blood, but then she like makes a cum face. Almost
Wow.
like that's the only way. Like she made an O face. Like I guess maybe I should just put it that way. But if you watch the scene when she's in the fucking thing and she gets the blood on the shit and she like tastes it because that's how she tests DNA apparently, and then she fucking makes an O face.
You got some DNA she can
She's
test.
like, that's the motherfucker I'm looking for. Oh motherfucker, my shit just got lubricated or whatever.
Right, robot.
I thought it was good.
You should write robot porn.
I'd probably be real good at it. So Skynet is no longer a hardware-based place. It is now specifically in software, distributed AI software within the global networks. Sound familiar?
Yep. My iCloud account.
All right, a few more behind-the-scene things, and then we'll jump through to Salvation real quick. That one we're gonna have to move a little faster too, because what are we at right now? Like 90 hours.
Yeah.
Feels
like it.
I don't really care. Let me look at the DM. I'll tell you. Yeah, we're at almost an hour as it is.
Wow, we need to speed it up.
All right, so a lot of this shit of us sitting here will go away though.
Yeah.
So all in all, Terminator 3 wasn't like a total shit bomb, like a lot of people might say it is, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is.
I say that also in preparation for the next two movies we're going to talk about.
Well, comparison-wise,
three.
Oh yeah, 3. We only halfway there, dude. We're living on a prayer.
So Terminator Salvation was the next one. Obviously, we can get right to saying that that's where the infamous Christian Bale.
Good for you.
Yeah. I don't fucking care. You stay out of my eye line or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Are you a fucking professional? But even he has condemned his actions on that, I believe, and like it's become kind of a meme at this point. Uh, but the movie itself, all in all, like what's your all in all on this movie?
All in all, I like the fact that we went to the future and kind of got away from the horror movie aspect of it to where you have the unkillable machine that we did for 3 movies. I
Yeah.
like the post-apocalyptic feel of it. That's about it.
Yeah,
I
see,
really,
when I went into this movie, I did remember thinking, "Oh man, I'm gonna like this," because I thought I was gonna go see like a war film
yeah,
about us versus the machines, and we would have points where it's like John leads this team, they come up with technology, EMP shit or something, just stuff to fight the machines, and like make a good war movie of it that has a underlying story. And sure, I want some of my meta fun stuff. And I kind of got to say, like, the idea that they use, spoiler alert, the idea that they have a guy who thinks he's human, but he's actually a machine who's
that's a
been
cool
like,
concept.
that's a really cool concept. They did not fucking do it well at all. Like,
Nah, yeah, the execution was horrible.
yeah. But I will give props to the three main actors in this film as always impressing me later and in other things. Christian Bale killed as so many different other characters. Sam Worthington has been shit on for a lot of his stuff, and to be honest,
He's
like
not bad.
he's pretty fucking good. Yeah, like he went on to do Avatar, he went on to do a bunch of good shit.
He was the it
Anton
guy for a
Yelchin,
while.
rest in peace, was killing it and everything he was doing too. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie where he's like a little kid with Kat Dennings and Robert Downey Jr. I can't remember the name of it, but it was really good. And then of course he went on to be in Star Trek in the new Star
Yeah,
Trek films.
that's where I
Uh,
remember him from.
Terry Crews was supposed to be in the movie, but he got cut out. But he apparently briefly appears in one scene.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, I
and of
saw that.
course, Bryce Dallas Howard plays she replaces Claire Danes as Kate Donner
Nepo
in this
baby.
film. And yeah, a little nepo there, but I've always liked her and most of the shit she's in. Like, she's a good actress, so I don't hate that she got her little nepo way in.
I
Like,
always picture her blind in every role she does now, ever since The Village.
yeah.
It took me forever to figure out she was blind. I was on mushrooms at the time, but when I first saw The Village, I was like about an hour into the movie. I looked at my friend and I was like, "What is she fucking blind?" And he's like, "Yeah, she's blind." Like, oh,
Okay, then you're watching an M. Night Shyamalan film named The Village that we all know what the twist is. And the twist for you is that she's
she was
blind.
blind.
No, he he was like, this movie's just like Book of Eli. Anyway, everybody's got to Google everything we just talked about. Nobody knows what I'm talking about.
Nobody
Uh,
knows.
the first
Nobody
This is the
knows.
first Terminator film that was set in the future again. I was looking forward to that, and it was. I mean, there. I'm not going to say it didn't look good in a lot of the fights and stuff, and they didn't do well with the visual, um, uh, VFX.
There you go.
There we go. They did well with the VFX of this film. I don't actually have enough remembrance of how good or bad they were, so they had to be pretty good, in my
Yeah, it's been a
opinion.
while for me.
Like, I didn't have. If I wanted, I didn't. If I don't like a movie, I'll tell you everything I didn't like about it. And
Right.
I very remember thinking like, "There's nothing wrong with the way this movie looks. It's very nice looking."
Except that it's shot during the day.
Is that like wet for dry or whatever?
Yeah.
Dry for wet.
The director was Mick G, I
Night.
believe,
Wait,
right?
wait. Is it like day for night?
Day for night is what you're thinking of.
Okay. But I
They
was
just
making a
forgot.
joke of
They
dry to
forgot
wet
to.
because you know what that is too, right? That's where they shoot. They try to figure out a way to shoot
Oh,
underwater
underwater.
sequences, but they're not underwater, and
Yeah, you
so
got fans on
it
hair
all
and
yeah,
stuff.
and it never works.
Yeah.
Like you have to
Just
do
drown
really
them.
good, and like there are some that where they do that, but they do a lot of like CG hair replacement shit, like in the Aquaman movies. But anyway,
The
look
director's
at
Mick
us getting
G.
sidetracked. Imagine that.
All right.
Uh,
Isn't the director Mick G?
for this.
Yeah.
Directed by Mick G. That's right.
Yeah, okay. He's got his start on Korn videos, music videos.
That's right. What a fucking jump, right?
Right.
It's like, all right,
I can
what
see
are
you.
you
I can
gonna
see
do
you. I'm
during
going
this part?
blind.
What are you gonna do during this part where he's going to? All right, we want you to do the next Terminator movie.
Dum 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 dum.
Yeah. Pop, 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 pop. Gosh, Jonathan,
This is
I
what
was
we
just
think Korn sounds like.
I would like to hear Korn do the turn theme. I would try to finance that, you know, like could you imagine like Fieldy's fucking thumping bass?
Bass. Doing that for another 30 minutes.
Think that's gonna you think that's gonna work? Anyway, at this point, John Connor is a low-ranking resistance member. Meter. Yeah, he met the resistance. They were meeting, you know.
Wow.
He only elevated after proving Skynet had been targeting his
Jesus.
future dad.
Chad's having problems. He needs to be rebooted.
Yeah. It's probably just the AI making me sound bad to you even.
Yeah, in real time.
Because it really doesn't like us talking about these films. But
That's about it for
jumping
Terminator
forward
4.
to Terminator Genesis.
Genesis.
The you know me and my shit with Amelia Clarke. Let's just get that out of the way.
Okay, yes, okay.
Like I
Chad likes
might be
Amelia
I
Clarke.
might like her a little more than anybody should like anyone that they've never met. You know?
In a creepy kind of way, too.
Oh, but come on, man. She isn't like the fucked up thing about it is it's not even like don't get me wrong, like she's beautiful and like, you know, my human male wannabe sex man, you know, yeah, I get that. She's very attractive in the sexual manner. But what gets me is like she's a good actress. She does like it was weird to see her in like Game of Thrones where she's a very somber character, and then I start seeing her in interviews where she's like the goofiest down to earth person to me or seems to play that part when she's on a show, you know?
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't know. There's more to it than just the, like, she's so hot, you know, to me.
Chad's in love.
Shut up. I'm obviously just having a bad case of celebrity worship. Because you know I'm not even like, she's not the only one.
Yes. She's not. She's on a long list.
She's on a short list.
Oh.
Like, you know, we can do a whole podcast about Chad's short list.
Boy.
But
Speaking of being banned.
so Amelia Clarke being in this film was a big up for me. I was like, I'm gonna like this film. I'm gonna give it a real fucking chance. I'm gonna give it a real fucking chance.
That's
I'm gonna
what you
watch it.
get.
I'm gonna like it. I'm gonna like it, Derek. I wanted to like it. Then I watched. Now let's be clear, just so I can get through this. The first 2 acts of the film, I was staying on board. Spoiler alert. When John Connor turned out to be a nanobot replacement of John Connor, I was
What?
kind of like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I was like, this, because like he is kind of like the central portion of this, and the waters become very muddy now when it comes to like trying to stick to any kind of timeline that's we've already seen and are trying to see more of, you know?
Yeah.
Because it just keeps being, we do this, they do that. We do this, and they do that. We keep sending just the right fucking stupid needle back in time to go against whatever fucking thing they sent, you know?
Yeah.
So
It's a little
that was
redundant.
something that got muddy for me. But I remember like it was also profound. I'll give it that.
What?
It was profound to make John Connor the fucking enemy of the third act.
I don't know about profound. I think it was definitely a choice.
Like it does turn it on its head because now like yeah, if you want to sit down and logically dictate that it's not John Connor and John Connor is dead, that sucks, you know? But like
Yeah.
also it's the idea of that now this nanobot is him because it took everything that was him, it became him. Like so there's something to be said there about it. How much of that robot is John Connor or could be taken as actual John Connor in the timeline, you know?
Then we get into what makes life life.
Yeah. Well, that can be
That's
3
a whole
days
other
of fucking
podcast,
conversation right there. Yeah.
That's a whole other podcast.
But this also breaks the other thing it breaks down is making a multiverse of this whole situation when it was always kind of looked at as a timeline that kept getting interrupted.
Yeah.
And now it becomes like, okay, this is different, and so I will say Matt Smith's probably one of my favorite actors, and I loved him going forward. It actually broke my heart when I realized that he was John Connor in Genesis at one point.
Wow.
Like I was like, no, not him. That wasn't him, was it?
Oh, wow.
But again,
Buyer's
like I
remorse.
do, but I mean, I'm saying all that to say that it's still like a good 4.5 to me. Like it's not the worst movie ever. I
Really?
enjoy, I enjoy
Is
certain
that just
aspects.
in
The
comparison to
first,
part 6?
well, also, yeah. I mean, you're also comparing it to Salvation. I'm comparing it to 3. I'm comparing it to the newer ones, or the newer one, I should say, after this. But in retrospect of all that, yeah, I give it a 4.5. You know, and there was
Okay.
parts of it that I remember like really enjoying, like fucking uh Schwarzenegger playing like a weird father figure who's also trying to get him to hook up. You know, like
Wow.
like that was funny. And the whole thing of like once Matt Smith made the turn, he killed the role. Uh if anything, he was like less believable as John earlier in the film. I also really like the fact that they were trying to stick to the timeline in the first act where like a lot of the same shit was happening and they were making meta references and everything, you know?
Yeah. Just redoing the first movie.
Yeah. I know that a lot of people probably think exact opposite of that
Yeah.
scene. That
They do.
I thought that was cool.
Shame on you, Chad.
That kept me
Shame.
on board. But again, we're all talking about Amelia Clark again.
Yeah.
Like
I think you
she
gave
could
this
do a
movie a
reading of the
pass.
phone book as a TED talk. If I got free tickets and could get there, I'd probably go. You know, like,
Wow.
or I mean, if I would buy tickets if I could get there. If
The
I could buy
phone
tickets and get
book.
there, is what I meant. I say free tickets only because we're not getting paid for this. So if anybody would like to support or
Yeah, a phone book agency will support us. What the hell's a phone book, dude?
it's
You
the thing
old.
Amelia Clark's gonna read at this thing I
Gonna
want to go to, okay?
leave my fantasies alone.
Yeah, I don't know what a phone book is either, but she's gonna read it there live, dude. Anyway, this episode is called Chad Has a Problem.
Problems, plural.
Critically panned, critics found it convoluted, poorly acted, and overstuffed with explosions.
Wow, I
Rotten
mean the critics
Tomatoes gave it a
agree.
26%. Uh, some enjoyed the nostalgia
I wonder who.
and the time travel chaos. Most it felt betrayed by the original tone and characters. Grossed 89 million domestically, and initially internationally it earned over 440 million. Mostly thanks to China, but that was a
Let's
flop
go.
apparently.
Yeah.
I don't know what did I miss. Did we talk about budget?
No.
Yeah, they never. I don't. I didn't see the original budget, but apparently making 500 million wasn't enough. So then
Floppity flop.
For Dark Fate, he Cameron got back on board and he grabbed up somebody else that we know very well, Mr.
Who's
Tim Miller,
yes, Tim Miller.
of Deadpool and a
Deadpool.
bunch of other shit. But mostly in like this kind of like movie world, Deadpool.
Didn't Cameron
Paramount and
Bell before?
Skydance tried to sell a cinematic universe around Genesis. After the backlash, the whole timeline was scrapped.
I can see that.
So that means that I mean the only problem I have with that whole thing is that we won't see Amelia Clark come back to the Terminator films
Yes.
because I would be down to see her come back to anything.
Wow, Chad has a
Anyway,
problem.
I'm just that it's not in the creepy way. It's the I just want her to have success and I want to see her more, you know.
Creepy. Creepy.
Like she won't return my calls. Like I tried emailing her manager and he said something about, you know, what do they call it? Oh, he said
There's
he threatened that, but it was more on the basis of like you're weird. And I'm like, no, I'm not.
I'm completely
He's
normal.
passionate.
There's passion all over those walls.
Oh, where is what was the next film?
Dark Fate.
Yes. In Terminator Dark Fate, we get to do the most like abrupt and in your face subversion and like, you know, basically destroy everything on the timeline.
This movie was a lot shorter than the rest.
It was.
I stopped watching after they killed John Connor. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, it's done.
That's the part I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Literally, the first 3 minutes of filming, they're just like, "Here's CG, little kid you love, and here's CG, fucking Sarah Connor, and fucking here's CG, fucking
Arnie.
Arnie, and a big ass CG gun blast right in John's chest, like it ain't shit, you know, the fucking right in the midst of mass shootings and stuff."
Wow.
This is fucking cool, you know. But it was. I'll give him the fact that it was shocking and it was very subversion of my expectations.
Agree.
I actually didn't watch the film till way later, after later seeing that was in the film.
Yeah, me
And
too.
not knowing that it was the first thing you see in the film. But I will give him all the fucking CG was good. Like that scene that scene looked like it happened right in front of me. I didn't have the only like uncanny valley I was in was like, really? This is what you are doing? And that my vote, I was in such a deep uncanny valley on that it echoed off the walls of that valley.
Oh, so it was just a big really?
Yeah, really? That's what y'all are doing? You know, like
Really.
Now batting, Mike Piazza. Sorry.
Wow.
How many movies nobody watched can I reference today while we're talking about these movies nobody watched? Or well, these these last couple or whatever. Shout out to Cameron, dog. He tried. I do think that they were trying to like come like because the rest of the story, if you cut out John Connor getting shot in the face in the chest in the middle of fucking Mexico,
The opening credits.
yeah. If you just say that, if you would have been like shortly, I guess the shock of seeing it maybe would have lessened if you just say it. Like it did,
It's called Show,
it didn't
Don't
work.
Tell.
Another Terminator came and killed him, and so now Sarah has gone into obscurity and nobody knows where she is. But a new, like you need like a fucking trail, like Star Wars crawl that just
It
says
explains all the stuff.
But there is a new hope.
Wow.
Nothing like Star Wars at all, but
And the whole movie's just the crawl.
I did appreciate the I'm sure anti-wokes are pissed off about that very fact, but I did appreciate the subversion of like at one point Sarah insinuates that the new chick is like a womb, And
Yeah.
so even for the strongest woman character in history of cinema to like just automatically assume that this bitch is just a womb for the real fucking leader, but then it turns out she's the fucking leader. I appreciate that for like what it says, and also I think it was a good subversion. Like I didn't see that coming either. Like I was kind of bought into what Sarah was saying without anybody agreeing. Again, talking about actresses that I like way too much, Mackenzie Davis kills it in this movie a little bit. She probably is the highlight of the movie, even giving Linda Hamilton her credit for coming back as the character and making her kind of like an old, rugged version of her.
And almost caring enough to get the paycheck.
Like I get it though. Like I appreciated that Linda was kind of like, I wouldn't say she didn't half-ass it in any way. She just took that character to a level that she kind of like feels in that world,
Yeah.
And so it was probably made it even more realistic that she was kind of just like so like
Checked
aloof
out.
and checked out. Yeah, like the whole. I love that when they steal her truck and then she shows back up and saves their ass and she goes, "Thanks for stealing my fucking truck" or whatever. Like that was pretty cool. So like shout out to Linda Hamilton, Arnold. The whole thing with Arnold and the family and what he did after he killed,
that's weird.
Like if they would have incepted some point when an outside force reprogrammed him to repurpose to be what he is now, or at least like as a sleeper agent for when this kind of shit would happen, that would have made sense.
I find it hard to believe that like the default programming in a Terminator machine is to start a family after his initial objective is finished.
Yeah.
It's like, now what to do? Oh, I'll raise a family.
Yeah.
Kill something else. You're a Terminator.
Like, also, like, even if it did go dormant, like I said, there had to be some kind of outside programming to make him do that to, like, I don't know, fit in or whatever, so that way he could be the sleeper cell that helps whenever some shit goes wrong.
Yeah.
And that would have to come from, like, I don't know, John Connor himself or some shit, you know, or like future John Connor that didn't get shot in the fucking chest, you know, like. But anyway, it also breaks the timeline with all this, you know.
Yep.
Like, that's kind of the thing. But if you're gonna try to tell a new story, and being that this timeline was created by who? Fucking James Cameron. I'll give him credit that doing that is kind of brave. Like, to come write the best movie in history about saving Edward Furlong from fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then opening your next movie with Edward Furlong getting shot in the chest by Arnold Schwarzenegger's pretty fucking bold. I'll give you that.
I think that's probably the part that he signed on for. He distanced himself right before the movie came out. He started distancing himself, which was odd. You got any good facts about this movie?
Well, I mean, just talking about the film itself again, the thing with Grace Mackenzie Davis' character being cybernetically enhanced, but then having like the almost the kind of like curses of it with needing like regular meds.
Yeah, she's a pillhead.
Yeah, and then also apparently just laying around in ice and cooling off.
He's a junkie.
Danny Ramos. See that also? There's another meta thing, because what was Amelia Clark's name?
Wow.
In the Game of Thrones film. I mean, show. It was Danny. But anyway, Danny Ramos.
Unhealthy,
She's
Chad.
not the
Unhealthy.
mother of the future saver. She is the future saver, which is a subversion of the original story.
Go subversion of expectations.
Again, you can piss off all the fucking like. You can call me cuck, liberal, piece of shit, whatever. I thought that was cool.
I wasn't thinking any of that, Chad. Jesus.
Well, like, I don't know, you know, like the beta male, alpha male whole like alpha male is just like, you're a bitch, and the beta male's like, yeah, so leave me alone.
Yes,
the alpha
Daddy.
male still goes, quit being a bitch, like he won't shut up. You know,
Oh.
I have both of them in my head all the time. Yeah, it's fair. So Skynet never existed. After John was killed, Skynet was prevented from rising, but another AI, taking on the name Legion, emerged.
Yeah.
Humanity builds doomsday machines no matter what. So Legion is the new Skynet. It's pretty much the same shit, but it's just different. And it creates the Rev 9, which is the new thing that I hate everybody. I mean, I love everything about it except the guy's face.
Because you're a racist.
No, it has nothing to do with his race. It's just his face. You can't call people, everybody, every race, every people of every race has face. You know?
Wow.
Sarah Connor grapples with grief, rage, and irrelevance as redemption and legacy themes in this film. Carl seeks redemption, which is weird because he's a robot. But apparently they were trying to show that even a machine can grow a soul.
Just what we need, machines with souls.
Machines with souls. That, I mean, on a concept, if this is concept of that, like, and if this was concept of that, actually the way it would work in perpetuity, sure, because it seemed kind of cool. Like, you know, you just want to be a person and have a family, but I don't buy it for a fucking leftover robot. I just don't buy it.
I don't.
Like, without some sort of outside AI injection change of directive, you know,
Right.
I don't see it happening. Like, maybe it's smart. Maybe it just thought it all up as a good reason to keep being around and be available for doomsday or whatever, you know. But that's the best I can give it. Is it, you know, and just smart. And it's like, this is what I could do. Because even being a good dad in those scenes and stuff, he was just kind of there with his face and shit. You know, and like, I don't think he was like teaching them how to fucking do baseball better or something. You know?
Baseball better. You're clearly an athlete.
I know a lot about that game, you know. It's the one where the hoop and the ball, but the ball's hard and you throw it to there's 4 downs and sometimes there's 18 holes or whatever, right?
Wow.
I know that whole shit. You go to the place and you got to wear the special shoes and then you use a stick to push a ball around the table.
Wow.
So it was mixed to positive reviews on this reception and box office take of this. The Return of Hamilton criticized the plot as derivative. The John Connor twist was alienating. Was it? I think we covered that. As like you stopped watching the movie,
Yes.
and I was like, this is really. I was like, really, and I was in a sea of canyon that was uncanny. It wasn't a valley; it was a canyon.
Canyon.
And
Not
it
to be
wasn't because of
confused.
the. Just to be clear, that uncanny valley had nothing to do with the CG. The CG looked great. Uh,
CG was good. The scene
this
sucked.
entire review isn't confusing at all. Um, Linda
Well, getting
Hamilton
as
almost did
confusing as the
not fucking
plot.
show back up. She was like, nope. She said she needed a reason beyond money to come back. And so
Horseshit.
Cameron sat down and talked some shit into her ear, and she was like, all right, I get
How
it.
about a whole lot of money?
I'm not doing this for money. I'm doing it for a shitload of money. Spaceballs. Arnold helped develop Carl's drapery backstory, including dry jokes about interior design and parenting. Way to go, Arnie.
Wow.
I
So
mean,
everything was
I
bankrupt
still
at this
love the
point.
guy. I still love the guy, and I'm giving him a good meeseeks on this movie. Like
At
they
least he
trying,
tried.
they're trying, but and I appreciate the nuance of like taking Arnold and making him like that because he almost is like a what do you call it, MacGuffin at this point. That character itself in the
Yeah.
storyline is just a legacy MacGuffin or legacy smoking gun, Chekhov's gun, one of them.
Chekhov's gun. One of those guns.
He's a gun, which means that's why Terminators is Roman, Texas. But
Wow.
anyway, end all be all. What's your call on Dark Fate?
I did not like Dark Fate at all. I thought the acting was poor. I thought the performances, that's the same thing as acting, Derek. Thank you. I thought the performances were poor. The plot was all over the place. I found it very hard and lacked coherency.
I did find it hard to like. I had watched it before, and then I rewatched it recently. I'm glad I watched the first half and then the second half later because what I ended up doing was catching a few things I didn't catch the first time because it's not very forthright with some of the really important parts
Yeah.
of the story. Uh, but anyway, once I kind of caught it all, I could see the cohesion that maybe is should have been more cohesive,
Yeah.
if that's the best way to put it. Uh, but beyond that, like it's still like probably probably the worst one.
Really? I put Genesis up there as the worst one.
Let's see. It's probably just Amelia Clark.
Yeah, I
The
figured you've got
Genesis.
that.
And
Genesis
also I can watch Genesis right now and try to like
jerk
follow.
off.
I mean that would just be the first 10 minutes. But anyway, a good
That's
long
odd.
movie. It's a good long movie. You know, I could get past that. But no, in all truth, I could watch that movie, and then when I get to the third act, I could start picking apart the things that really turned me off beyond just kind of memory right now.
Yeah.
Because I didn't watch that one again recently because I just remember having a very mid to low thought of it. But again, being the Amelia Clark thing is truly winning me some points, but it's not. I'm being a little bit jokingly when I say how much like it matters.
Yeah.
I give it a
Being
4.5 without
facetious.
4.5 without being on top of her.
Wow.
Without being supported by her like presence. I'll put it that way. So that being said, I do think, like I said, the first two acts of the movie, then they pull the submersion on you, and that part, I think it's kind of like in a movie that's not really a musical, but they break out in song, and you go, oh, my conscious and like whole self image of self understanding just realized that this is fake.
Yeah.
You just destroyed all the realism, even though I'm like I know this is
verisimilitude.
fake and I'm watching a movie, but you just kind of broke it, you know?
Yeah, takes you out of the moment.
I had disbelief suspended, and now you just pulled out the suspensions.
You suspended the suspension.
Yeah, yeah, basically. Or you put a lot of you put way too much weight on the suspension you had given me. um, they were gonna do a trilogy based off of this.
Yeah,
That
that's not
didn't work
happening.
out. Paramount was like, nope. And so as of now, there are actually no Terminator films in production, though there's some animated projects on streaming for reboots that have been teased.
Yeah, I think we should leave Terminator alone. It's definitely run its course, but you know they're not
No,
going to
I
do
could
that.
go for more if it was done to a point of an actual, like if they tried to like do a good reboot of the whole world in some way, I would give it a try. And if they could make the legacy of it fix up the timeline in some way, I'd give it a try. But I don't expect any of that to actually work. Like, I agree to a certain thing that it's run its course, but I also like that genre story leading change that it was in the whole, even in some of the shitty films, you know?
Yeah,
And so it's like other shows and other movies that are anywhere based close to Android stuff or any kind of like robot AI as the enemy, it's all comes from this. The fandom of any of that comes from the fandom of this. Uh, back in the 90s, I remember reading cyberpunk uh, books that my D&D buddy was telling me to read and going, "Oh, this is like Terminator, but like way better," you know.
yeah.
And these were books that were written before that, but I didn't get to it till later, and so that made me appreciate that shitty Johnny Mnemonic film. Like I, I stand for Keanu Reeves in a rivalry of how much I stand for Amelia Clark. Um, the whole sexual aspect totally on a different level, but more into Keanu.
Yeah,
Yeah, I knew you were gonna do that, so I beat you to it.
yeah. Luckily, my gears are slipping.
Yeah, calm down there, Arnie. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna have, like every time we do that, I'm gonna cut to the actual song, and like it'll sound so stupid when we do it.
Wow, you're editing us down.
Hey, it's give me credit. I haven't done the whole thing. Like I haven't done the whole thing. So we've just been doing the intro. So you gotta give me
Well, I don't want
credit
to
for
get
holding
sued.
back that. Yeah, we won't. We don't want to get. So we've come to the end of the line of Terminator films. Did you want to revisit a little bit about Ironheart without breaking my heart too much? Because I don't know if I remember correctly. You said you weren't like super impressed, but I love it.
I wasn't super impressed. Yeah.
Did you not? Did you not dig the second half?
I did. I enjoyed Mephisto, even though I enjoyed the fact that Mephisto was there. I don't know how I feel about his performance yet. Like it's still kind of like, maybe, maybe not.
I thought Sacha Baron Cohen did a great job of having the two different accents, which represents the whole devil speaking all the languages thing in my head. I
Yeah,
did like how quickly he went from being just like a fucking nonchalant salesman to
I'm the
whenever he
devil.
gets called back and like gets on old dude's face. Like I think he did great. I don't actually if I'm calling performances, his probably was the best of the show. Uh but
Would agree with that, but
but
I
I see
still have questions.
it's also the tail end of a show that you're not loving, so I get that too. But
Well, I've got a question. The Stain guy, he's programmed. He gets reprogrammed to where he's in complete loyalty to the main bad, right?
yeah.
But he lies to him. He's able to lie and tell him that,
Oh,
yeah, I
well,
killed her.
I mean, one could say that yes, all that kind of there was no explanation of his upgrade. It was called an upgrade.
Yeah,
At that point, we saw that his upgrade gave him super strength and basically he could shock things. It looked like maybe
yeah,
he had some other things like maybe telekinesis. I might have noticed, but like he did have some super almost spiritual, I mean, not almost magic powers with his technology, full technology.
Yeah.
I appreciated that aspect of him because of the aspect of magic technology with this whole show. And like,
Yeah.
so him having that was kind of a cool little, like, because it put him in a box of like, I still didn't know where he was going to be at the end of this. Like, he was pissed. He had enough reason to be pissed off at Riri to go against her, regardless of where they might have taken him, making him a worse person at this point.
Yeah.
But he still kind of stayed in the middle and helped her kind of. And to explain your question, in the lore of it, which is probably made in my head to a certain degree, he has upgrades to his physical person, and all those upgrades can be controlled by an outside source that was totally backdoored in because
Yeah.
they did it all, you know.
Yeah.
So I could see all
I
that. The
get that.
one
It's
thing
just
that
him
doesn't
lying.
one thing that doesn't get to me is how he like it just I guess it just works off his commands and his voice because he started would tell him to do things and he would just do it, but he wouldn't do it. He wasn't telling him how to move. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he wasn't like telekinetically telling him how to move or how to do it. So he was
Walk to
just
this
making
door with a
commands.
limp.
Yeah. So I respected the fact that that was kind of the control of it. Because again, going back to her having to have the AI for her fucking her suit being like an aspect of not of hardship for her, that's him too.
Yeah.
Because this was his that's how they got it to him and that's how they took control of him. I
Correct
also
me if I'm wrong, but she did make a deal with Mephisto, right?
yes.
Okay.
At the end, whenever she hugs the real friend
The real,
who's
that's what I
dead,
thought.
you see that shit go up her arm. And that's what really confirms it. But the back and forth of it pretty much confirms it. In my mind because I kept thinking that because she'd be sitting there with Mephisto and then it would flash forward to her talking to the old girl and then it would flash back to her questioning it and all that.
Yeah.
So it was purposely making you dance on the idea, but then they just confirmed it at the end. But once they started dancing, I was like, oh, she's gonna take this
Yeah, that's what I
because
thought too.
this is one of the few things that most of this audience, obviously the people that want to hate on it is going to hate on it anyway, but most of the audience who's, you know, it's anybody who's gone through grief can probably at least follow that whole
Relate. Yeah.
situation and relate. What even if it's just a friend or fucking whatever. So we all kind of can get that, and so I think that that's the only kind of saving grace to the character that's going to also make it like a Phoenix kind of character when it comes out of it. This not like Phoenix the from the
The
X-Men,
X-Men.
but like as a Phoenix in the imagery of it. Like,
Yeah.
but again, early on, people were not following the characters. They weren't liking a lot of the like direct references that she was basically having all this tech that's straight out of other movies, and like my thoughts on that is she's just smart and if she's not, like, I wouldn't be mad about her having all the Stark tech, just
Yeah.
like fucking downloading it, because she's smart. And then she has all those schematics to do to make all the shit that she can make, including Barf, which is the shit she was using for all the, hologram
The
shit.
hologram, yeah.
Then,
Oh, how did she learn magic that quick though? That was another thing. Like
well,
when she
they did skim through it, but if you'll notice, old girl with glasses comes and joins them on the team when they
and
start putting magic into the stuff.
she's a sorcerer or
Yeah,
whatever.
all she would really have to do is teach her that spell because that's the only spell that she did.
Uses. Okay.
And
Yeah, I
obviously, it
wasn't.
might have been a big one, but I'm saying you could probably, if she's that good, she could probably teach her to do that spell in the armor.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I'm glad there's not going to be a part two. So,
you don't think so?
no. I think this is part of the last administration's shit, and that there will
Honestly, I was thinking they were gonna like at least kind of like this. I thought that a good thing they could do because here's what if they take everything that's not totally working, and I don't think that this is not working. Just to be clear, I thought that
Yeah.
everybody's fighting about how bad and good this fucking thing is. So let me tell you something. That's good. like
Yeah.
like me and you are kind of
It's
fighting about how bad and good this
it's
is.
not bad. It's just not good. It's not. It hasn't really registered in the good category. So
I think that everybody's extreme on it. I do think that like they fired it up with some of the people that talk about it, including say that the shit that fucking Robert Downey Jr. said probably didn't help with the people who didn't like it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because there are people that don't like it that aren't racist. Let's just be clear.
Yeah, I'm
But
one of them.
yeah, but just to be clear, also there's a lot of them that are masking that. Oh shit! All in all, you thought it was meh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad enough to be bad, not good enough to be good. So I was just kind of in the middle.
Was there like a tipping point because of like Mephisto and like some of the magic shit being thrown in, or was that like a up or downer for you?
It was kind of a downer. I was expecting more from Mephisto, to be honest with you. I was expecting him earlier in the series and more to him, but he did a good
Okay.
job, I guess. Still, my opinion's kind of out on whether or not I really dig his performance or not.
Well, like I said, I'm in contention. I think that there was a lot good there, and I know that there's not a second season in any form planned.
Yeah,
But I
as of
do
right
know that
now.
these characters are going to be carried over either into more Disney Plus products for sure, if not more like actual MCU shit.
Yeah, movies and
Well, that kind of is cool, but I just like I don't know, like there's a lot of people that are devised about this show, and like I said, with all respect to your thoughts, I disagree entirely. I really enjoyed the show, and
well, then we
I'm
can't
a
be friends.
yeah, we're breaking up right here. No,
It's alive. It's recorded.
no, I know it might come a shock to a whole country that two people can be friends and disagree about something.
No, I think that's unheard of.
But I like to briefly say, like, I kind of liked it from the start. I will say I got when the first three came out, I was just ready for more. And when they hit me with the second three, they gave me a lot more, and I liked it. And because I felt like, I think that one of the things someone told me was that it's slow. And I felt like there was a lot of ups and downs, but it was just grounded more than it was slow for me. And then it went off the ground. And I liked that. And then all the tie-in that see I'll give all the tie-ins to everything in the MCU being uh, a little like on the nose and
Heavy-handed.
I'm not gonna say heavy-handed, more convenient. Like
Okay.
I will say that it's convenient that she's smart enough to get all that Stark tech and build it herself. I will say that it's convenient that she fucked up her little brain scan and the story progressed as it did with the grief back lying thing. That's
Yeah.
convenient. But a lot of good writing is just writing stuff that happens and it's interesting. And so I don't know. And I also disagree about a lot of the performances. I think that Riri's performance really good, especially once I've seen how she is like as a person. She's that's not how she is.
No.
She's like playing that character really well as a tough kind of like wannabe street girl. Because it even admits and shows that she's not really from the ghetto. Like she's just a middle class genius who can't fucking get that high, you know. And
Yeah.
so I feel like they accurately represented all that. Everybody can say what they want about the team and throwing all whatever anti-woke stuff at it, but most of them were enjoyable. And like the turn back on them once they find out that he killed Eric Andre's character and all that was cool. There was a lot of turmoil and twist to that second half to me, and I also thought it was interesting the Stain character being like, I don't want to be my dad, but you just pissed me off and made me my dad. But
Yeah, he was probably the most
I
interesting character in the story to me.
yeah, and that's isn't he another like somebody's kid?
It's bound to be somebody's kid.
I mean, he is somebody's kid, obviously, but like not to be like he's a. I'm not trying to call him that, but I
Nepo,
wanna say his
baby.
dad or parents worked worked in the showbiz industry. Pause for thoughts on that.
He's not born of parents.
He's not born of. I know who he was. He is somebody.
Who is
This
he?
isn't the first time you've seen him.
Yes, it is.
Nope.
What have I seen him in?
Solo.
Oh, is that Aaron Ark?
That is Alden Eldridge, or however you say that poor man's name.
That's Solo?
Yeah, that's Solo.
Oh, wow. I
See,
would've got
he's a
his
good
name
actor,
wrong.
isn't he?
Yeah, I was confused.
But that also affected me about his character because I was like, fuck. Like I've seen him play. Like I thought he was pretty decent in Solo. Say what they could say about it, but I thought he did a pretty good job of trying to do what they were trying to do. And that affected me a little bit when I figured that out, which wasn't until mid watching the show.
Yeah.
It was during the break. But also, it's like there's to me what was cool, and a lot of people will judge on the same coin, and it's fair to say that it's all very convenient that all the lines drawn between her and Tony that aren't indirect but are so like the same.
Yeah.
The technology genius thing, the whole having an urge to protect what I have left or trying not to lose what my loved ones, because of loss, because of trauma, because of grief. And then the lines of like her doing the same thing of fucking with magic, like
Right.
another aspect that nobody's thinking about going on from here is that suit has
Magic.
whatever Dormammu magic in it, which apparently, guess who immediately took access to it? Fucking Mephisto.
Yeah.
So that was something like I thought about going forward if they were to do a season 2, is that like she would end up fighting that suit or some shit. But that there was a lot of interesting things with that stuff for me, and that's why I give it like a good score. I mean, I can't say it's the best thing, my favorite MCU property by any means. It's probably one of my favorite Disney Plus shows, but for a lot of people, that's not going to say much either.
Yeah.
Like I liked probably at least half to a little bit more than half of the Disney Plus shows more than most, but there's a lot of them that were misses, and I understood why. Even the ones that I like that are misses for whatever.
See, to prove I'm
wanted
not
to-
racist, I liked Miss Marvel.
Oh, well, see, yeah, I think it proves that you're not sexist, sir, or maybe that you like Brie Larson more than you not like.
Larson's in the
Sir?
Marvels, not Miss Marvel.
Miss Marvel. Okay, yeah. All right, I'm racist.
Yeah, you're a racist piece of shit.
Yeah, it didn't have anything to do with the similar title. But you're right. I liked Miss Marvel too. And that does kind of, I mean, it proves you're not like racist towards um,
Indians.
Indians. Yeah. And so that's important.
See, I got my white privilege card back.
The more you learn,
Learned and
the less he hates.
wow, did you just do the rainbow thing?
Yeah.
Gonna get us canceled. No rainbows allowed in this podcast.
Now, like the rainbow thing was to reference something that you know.
Yes.
Like,
The more you know.
the more you know. But now using a rainbow after that does seem problematic.
Wow.
So we're gonna leave it in.
Leave it in.
If we get popular enough to get canceled, like
That's my
somebody
goal.
writing a hate column on us would just get us listeners. Whatever, bro. So Ironheart, you wasn't a fan. I liked it a lot. We're still friends somehow.
Through the power of magic.
Coming up soon, I've seen Sinners. Big fan. Highly recommend it. I know you're going to watch it very soon. We'll probably
Yeah.
cover it like at the end of our next series, which we've had agreed now. We're going to start like a Tarantino film. We're going to start at the end.
Of
And,
Tarantino films?
No, we're not doing those yet. We're doing Star Trek. And we're going to do the new Star
ones.
Trek, the J.J. Abrams trilogy, I guess we could call it.
Yeah.
Was he on all three of them?
I don't think he was on the third one.
All right. Well, we'll just call it the JJ.
The JJ?
We'll call it the JJ.
The JJ.
No, we'll just call it the New Age Star Trek. How about
New-
that? This is Gen Z. No,
Wow. New Age makes me think of.
but that makes me sound like I'm making fun of it. But to be honest, I'm a big fan. I like the new shit.
Okay, well,
Go
for
over
the
the
podcast.
Yeah, that's true. What podcast? Oh, the next one, the one we're
The next
advertising.
one. Yes, the one we're trying to market, not spoil.
Yeah, who knows what I think about them. It's
Yeah.
not like I didn't say it.
Whoops. Now nobody's going to have to watch the next one.
They'll have to watch to know how you feel, and they'll also have to watch to know how we make fun of each other for the way we feel, and that's important to them.
Yes.
That's important to all of them.
I feel with my hands.
You have some listeners. Who's our listeners? Cracker's been listening, huh?
I think so.
Yeah.
No, I think Jimmy, my cousin, has been. I guess
Jimmy?
Cracker has.
Shout
too.
out to
Yeah.
Jimmy. Shout out to
Shout out to
Cracker. Shout
Cracker.
out to my boy Eric. I know he's been listening. Shout out to some of the comics that might have been bored enough to click on it. And
If they've
just
made it
click
this far.
on it again. Keep clicking it. Click on it like you're a chick double clicking her mouse,
Okay. Yeah.
and you're trying to make that money on that website that I can't mention.
Oh yeah, you're in Texas. Didn't they ban that?
They banned
in
everything.
Louis- Yeah, they banned over
They
here.
just took it all. They took it
Wow.
all. I was right in the middle of something too, and they just took it.
Research.
So,
Search.
I was right in the middle of some research and they took it right away. But that being said, we're going to come back Star Trek. We'll probably talk about Sinners when we're going to come back after that and go delve deep into the Star Trek movie universe, which will
That sounds fun.
after the next one, and
Yeah.
then we'll do original series stuff.
I'm probably going to have to take a week off whenever we start the move in a couple weeks.
No problem. We'll play it by ear. But shout out to everybody once again. Bad Prone Comedy on Facebook, on TikTok, and on Instagram. I've been trying to be more active on Facebooks, and the other two I'll do what I can, but I'm me. One person. The man over here can be reached at Mad Rock
At
Week.
Rock Week at SoundCloud, YouTube, and Facebook.
That's right. And you've been working on anything lately, or you just basically
Yeah,
been...
I've got music. I got a ton of music that I've been working on. Haven't released any of it yet, so that'll be coming shortly.
Was it still the same wheelhouse of grindhouse metal tech?
Electronic,
EDM.
industrial,
Yeah.
electronic. It's more now. This stuff's more live sounding. I'm using
Okay.
GarageBand, so that's my marketing tool.
All
Built
right.
in GarageBand.
Well, that's cool, man. I write lyrics every once in a while, but I haven't actually touched any kind of, other than that bullshit I was showing you the other day. I haven't really touched any music making stuff in a while. Every once in a while, I load up GarageBand to play a song for somebody that I already made. Like,
It's
here's
getting some
something I never
use.
finished.
This is a
There's a
riff
bunch of
I
shit
had
you
one
never
time.
finished on there still too.
Yeah, I know. We couldn't transfer. Remember?
We tried something. Yeah, we might try
did-
again. Maybe shit's better.
Maybe.
Maybe I
So I
can
guess
figure
that'll
out a
do
way
it.
to zip it and stick it up on the cloud somewhere for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll do it. And I hope everybody has enjoyed the Smodcast. I'm gonna say this will be dropped Monday because I'm lazy and probably won't work on it till tomorrow.
Wow. Way to go.
Or
Well,
maybe we recorded this Monday morning and nobody has to know the difference.
yeah, now they do.
But they won't know that. To them, it's still Monday morning. You forget about how time works.
If anybody's still
So
listening, leave a comment.
We were right on time as far as they're concerned.
Leave a comment.
My procrastination could go on for a week, and they would still be like, "Hey, new podcast."
Let's try not to push it off that far.
No.
Let AI do its thing.
But on Monday, 2027, 7/6. That's when it'll be out.
Wow. We're really building up the hype on this one.
There's a lot of post production. I have a whole team for VFX.
Yes.
We're gonna do it. There's gonna be a whole animation the whole time we're talking, and everything we say that they're gonna make it come to life.
Industrial light and magic.
No, it's synthetic light and magic. They're not at all the same thing at all. Totally different company that I own.
Industrial light and magic?
No,
What?
synthetic light and magic.
Synthetic light. That's right. Synthetic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a VFX company that I own, and it's in no way exactly like the other one.
So anything else we got?
No, we don't have anything else. You're tired of me.
I'm just sick of you, Chad. Sick of you. No, I'm just wondering how long this podcast is going to be.
Very true. We'll end off with see y'all next time here at Weirdo Bitos. This is what my beard sounds like on the microphone. Something like this.
What happens when I rub this on?
All right, I'll fix it in post.
Rubbing our microphone.
See you later, man.
Bye.
Weirdo Beatles.